Happy Sunday, everyone. How are ya? I am doing peachy keen. I am Michelle Geeson, your hostess with the mostest, and this is Bariatrics and Tips. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hello, Liz Johnson. I hope your day is delightful. I just wanted to let you know, I look forward to this every Sunday. I am so happy to be here. 2022, 2 episodes into a new season. You are about to see my favorite meal. Like right now, I am obsessing so much about my chicken tortilla soup that I cannot even begin to wait to show you. So you're gonna get that today. So if you are new to this broadcast, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. You know, one thing we all have in common is that we have all had weight loss surgery, or maybe we're gearing up to have weight loss surgery. But even if those two things don't fit the bill, even if you're just striving for overall wellness, maybe you just need to lose a few pounds, maybe you're even trying to combat diabetes, whatever it is, you are in the right place, okay? Because just because we're trying to achieve this overall wellness, no matter what the scenario, doesn't mean we have to be deprived of eating well. Food is a huge part of our lives, whether we like it or not. It exists in every single realm imaginable, from potlucks at work, to group gatherings, family holidays, traditions. Food evokes emotion in you and is associated with certain things, and the smells of food and the tastes of food can bring you right back to a certain instance the same way your favorite song does. So I'm afraid that food is here to stay. Pardon me. So we just need to learn how to live and coexist with food. It's that simple. And the main thing is to make sure that you don't feel deprived, to keep your self-control, to stay in control, and to not feel that you have to walk the face of this earth wishing that you could have this or that, okay? Life before or after or during or without bariatric surgery isn't meant to be spent wishing for those things, okay? Life is meant to be enjoyed, okay? We can have fun in the kitchen, we can have fun at the grocery store, we can have fun at a potluck, at a restaurant, at a family gathering. We can live, we can experiment, okay? It's our turn to live life to the fullest. So for those of you that don't know, I am almost 7 years out from gastric bypass surgery. I've lost and kept off 130 pounds, and it's because I allow myself not to feel deprived. I've learned ways to make things work. I've learned how to remake some of my favorite family dishes, and I do it because I choose to do it. And that's the really, really big, that's a big deal for me, okay? So at any rate, a lot of what you see here are my best practices, my favorite things. And while it may not be for you, I'm hoping that you can take what you need out of what I offer and have it help you on your own journey, okay? So with that being said, I'm gonna move right to our recipe demonstration. I think I'm probably gonna take you on a journey to the other side of the kitchen counter and bring you in. I've got the soup simmering right now. I've got a lot of things to show and tell, as well as some best practices and some extra indulgences to make this soup feel like it's something that you can order from a restaurant, okay? Remember, it's fun to be in the kitchen. You can do this. We can all do hard things, okay? Being in the kitchen should be an adventure, just like being in the grocery store should be an adventure. Don't be scared of it, don't dread it, don't fear it, embrace it, because this is gonna be your ticket to not feeling deprived. We need to find flavor in everything that we do, because flavor is what's gonna keep you from being deprived, okay? So my chicken tortilla soup, funny story, I'm pretty obsessed with Food Network and a lot of the shows therein. The recipe that I have for you is inspired by a Trisha Yearwood recipe. She had a great recipe for chicken tortilla soup, but unfortunately it was a little on the heavy side. I think it called for like half and half or cream. So I have been kind of remaking it to my liking, and what I found is that I don't feel deprived at all for the things that was in that recipe versus what I now put into my recipe. With all due respect to Miss Yearwood, I think it's better and so much better for you, okay? So I'm gonna go ingredient by ingredient, and I don't have it printed out because we ran out of paper, and we just haven't had a chance to get paper. So I've got it on my laptop, so you're gonna see me kind of referring to my laptop. I don't like to memorize my recipes because just when you think you have something memorized, you miss an ingredient or you put too much of an ingredient in, and then all of a sudden it's kitchen anarchy and I refuse. Okay, so on that note, we're gonna start off with a tablespoon of olive oil and a teaspoon of minced garlic and a large chopped onion. And what you want to do is you just want to traditionally saute your garlic and onion in that olive oil until they're translucent. That's really the first step. And I like to do this not necessarily in a pan, but in the stock pot that I'm using. It's going to be a one-stop pot. And yes, before someone even asks, you can totally do this in a crock pot too. Okay, it's just that good and it's that hearty. So again, after you've sauteed that garlic and onion, what you're going to do is you're going to combine 2 tablespoons of flour into that mixture, and then once you add your liquid, that's going to be the thickening agent to give it, to give it some good thickness. Not too much thickness, but good enough. And then once you do that, now you're going to opt for 2 32-ounce containers of either chicken broth or vegetable broth. And I don't really have a favorite. I'm trying to do a lot more plant-based stuff, so I have a lot more vegetable broth in the house than I do chicken broth, but it doesn't matter what you use, okay? That's completely your call. Calorie-wise, I think the vegetable broth would probably be a tad thinner in calories than anything else, but whatever. Now here's where the rubber meets the road, okay? Because you're looking at 4 cups of Fairlife milk. You can use 1%, you can use 2%, you can use whole milk. The main thing is you're not using heavy cream or half and half. Now I have made it with 1%, I have made it with 2%, and I have made it with skim milk, and honestly, I can't taste a difference. So that being said, I like to opt for skim milk. Sometimes I'll just do 1% and just let it be. I've got both of them in the refrigerator right now, okay? You're going to also add a can each of, hold on, wait for it, a can each of Great Northern beans, black beans, and kidney beans. If I was really skilled, I'd be able to juggle these, but I am not going to. But you know what? You want to make sure that you rinse and drain these beans. And I know there's a lot of recipes out there. Sometimes the recipe calls for drained and rinsed, and sometimes it wants you to use the liquid that's in it. And I think the main reason, really what I want you to know about the draining the beans is it tends to, if you're rinsing and draining them, it takes away any excess salt or starch. And it keeps the broth looking pretty good and clear, because if we're using clear chicken or vegetable broth, the last thing I want is like the dingy blackness of the black bean goo that's in with the can. So there's your helpful tip. So this recipe calls for your beans to be rinsed and drained, okay? You are also going to add a can of cream of chicken soup, and I like to use the low sodium, low fat option. Campbell's obviously does that. Your local grocery store might have their own brand, whatever you want to use there. The nutrition facts that I have is the light version. And it's also made, the nutrition facts that I also have is the chicken broth. And what is, I made it well. Oh, good. I'm glad, Casey. I'm glad that you're making it. So yay, you have to let us know how it looks and post a picture too. So I've got mine on the stove. I'm going to show you it in a minute. I'm going to lower the heat because I feel like it's going to town. Let's get back to our ingredients. 2 cups of salsa. Here's where my snobby salsa conviction comes into play, because I have been making my own salsa since forever. at least for my entire married life, and I've been married almost 23 years. So, So I like to use my own homemade salsa. Seriously, use whatever you want. But if you're at all interested in making homemade salsa, I do have a recipe being posted at 4 o'clock. I have 2 salsa recipes, and this is my number 2 salsa recipe. If you want my number 1 salsa recipe, I don't know, I'll have to think about it. It is a very beloved recipe that I have cultivated for a very long time, and it is all mine, and I love it so much. And so originally, this original Food Network recipe called for 1 cup of salsa. This ain't cutting it. You need 2. It's great. And the good thing about the salsa is, if you like more mild foods and you opt for mild salsa, obviously your soup is going to reflect that. I like to have a little bit of bite in my salsa, and consequently, so does the soup. But I'm basically the only one in my household that's eating it. I've gone through this phase probably since maybe September, where I've made it just about nonstop. And my husband was on board, and we made many a meal using this soup. But I think he's a little tapped out and a little souped out, so more for me. Yay. That's what I'm excited about. So 2 cups of salsa. And again, you'll get this recipe at 3 o'clock today. So don't worry about writing stuff down. You're going to get it exactly the way I'm telling you, okay? 4 boneless, skinless chicken breasts that are already cooked and shredded. And there's been a lot of posts this week on the best way to poach or boil your chicken. So you do what makes sense for you, okay? I won't tell you how to do it. Just make sure that it's shredded. I suppose you could dice it too if you wanted. Another way to make it uniquely yours. I like it shredded, and that's how I'm going to present it to you today. We went through the beans, a half a bag of frozen corn. I like the frozen as opposed to the canned, just because less preservatives. And if you do use the canned corn instead, make sure you drain and rinse it. 2 teaspoons of, this is where the spices will make the soup, but it's got to be the spices that you want. My recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of cumin, or cumin, potato, whatever you want to call it, cumin. You can also add some crushed red pepper, which I have. You'll probably see that in my soup when I go in for a macro shot for you. And then the recipe calls for a packet of fajita seasoning, and I swear the difference between the fajita seasoning and the taco seasoning, I'm not talking about spice here and heat. I am talking about pure flavor. There's something about this fajita spice that makes all the difference, because I did try taco seasoning, and it was good, don't get me wrong, it was very good. But there's something about that fajita seasoning that makes it feel more, maybe ethnic, maybe decadent, rich. I'm not sure. Find an adjective for me. Maybe all of them. But I really do prefer this, and hope that you will try it with the fajita seasoning as well. Okay? So I wanted to give you that trick and tip. And then, you know, everything requires salt to taste. So if you taste your soup, and I do encourage the tasting of your soup, please make sure that you are tasting it before you salt it some more, okay? So that really is the ingredients for the majority of the soup. You can use optional ingredients after the fact, like crushed tortilla chips, Monterey Jack, or mozzarella or cheddar cheese. You can use diced jalapenos, which I have right here. You know, I like my heat factor. You can use Greek yogurt in place of sour cream, which I do pretty consistently. And I'm going to show you all that stuff when we serve ourselves a bowl of soup, and I can show you all that. So on that note, I think I want to bring you on this side. But as you're adding all those ingredients, make sure you allow at least 30 minutes for it to simmer, and we'll let it reach a boiling and then let it simmer and really let those flavors mingle together before you serve yourself. Trust me, it's going to be hard, but I know you can do it. It's so hard when you start to smell the soup and it smells so good, and the windows all get foggy because You know, it's like 10 degrees here in Western Michigan, and I've got a big, huge pot of soup on the stove. It's amazing. It's so amazing. So I want to tell you this recipe will be posted at 3 o'clock. If you have any questions, let me know. You'll have my salsa recipe at 4 o'clock. And that salsa recipe, even though it's my #2 recipe, it's like crack cocaine. You're gonna get addicted, and I hope you love it as much as I do, okay? So come on over to this side. Let's get you going so you can see the soup. Hello, it's me. Okay, I'm just getting this down, and I'm going to bring you over. Hello. I wonder where the dog is. Usually the dog, okay, he loves my chicken tortilla soup, first of all, and he's on the couch and he's laying down. So I have a feeling once I go to the stove and once I put that ladle in there, he's gonna come a-running and you'll see my chicken tortilla soup dog. Okay, so here we go. Remember, I'm not a camera person. I wasn't in 2021 and I am not now. So hold on, there we go. Sorry. All right, so I showed you all this good stuff. I do need to go to the refrigerator for a quick second. I'm so very sorry. Where did my yogurt go? Because we gotta have the yogurt. The other thing that I like to do when I serve the soup is I like to put some cilantro on top. I love, love, love cilantro. Okay, so one thing that I want to show you, it's really a great portable meal. This is the bowl I'm going to be serving it in, and I bought a couple of these Pyrex at my local grocery store. They came with a lid. They were $5 each. This is what I take to work. After a trial and error, because, you know, when you put something in the bowl, you want to fill it up, and my eyes are always bigger than my stomach, so I know that I can fill this halfway and have one heck of a meal. So I'm not going to fill it all the way. I was trying to figure out like what the size of this bowl was, but I do know that my ladle is a half a cup. So we'll see how much it takes for us to put in here. And that's a good way to keep your eye on portion control. And then the other thing that I do, and this is just a really good best practice. I don't know if this looks familiar to anyone, but this is a protein powder canister. I removed the label and washed it out nice. And this is what I keep these things. They're like gold. They are money in the bank. And it's great to store large quantities of an item like my soup. So I just keep my soup in here. And that's how I put it in the refrigerator once it's cool. So use your protein powder canisters and keep them to house whatever you need to house your stuff in. All right, so let's go over to the stove. I want to show and tell. If you have any questions, type them in, please. I didn't put the bariatrics and tips sign that you see right over there. Usually I put it on the microwave, but it's so hot right now because of the soup. I didn't want to do that, just in case you were wondering. All right, soup is good food. All right, it's boiling nicely. Give it a stir because there's lots of goodness in there. And I'm gonna bring you a little closer. It might get foggy. Oh, it probably is getting foggy. What if I get my ladle and I show it to you? Hold on. Ladle and bowl. All right. Yes, Melissa, it is amazing. So you can see all the shredded chicken. You can see the corn and the different kinds of beans. You can see the broth is like an orangey goodness. Thank you to Michelle's Homemade Salsa. It is such a good, you can see the red pepper flakes in there too. Before I ladle it, let me go to the refrigerator. I'm sorry, I should have got the refrigerated ingredients out first. I wanted to get the cheese out and show you that. I've got everything else, I'm pretty sure. All right, so again, this is half of a cup. So I'm gonna put half and another half and probably one more. All right, so 1.5 cups of soup is what's in this bad boy. All right, I'm walking away. I'm bringing you with me. Hold on. And guess what? Can you see? Hold on. There's the dog. He knows that I got the soup. I got the stuff, Lego. I got the stuff. Okay? So, hang on. I just got over being sick, so if you hear my voice going in and out, that would be the reason why. Bear with me here. All right. This is where I need a camera crew. All right. So, pardon me. The first thing that I'm going to do is actually, funny story, I am going to make homemade salsa tonight because I am out of homemade salsa. And so I've got my cilantro in the salad spinner. So the first thing I want to do is take out some cilantro and give it a chop. And it can be as chopped finely or as not as you want. I just like to, okay. And I like to put that on top too. You know, whatever kind of cheese you want to use, this seems to be my favorite cheese these days. And I really, really love it. So I bought a bag. Oh, and here comes the dog, ready. So you can just take, you know, the serving size is a 1/4 cup. You can obviously measure it or you can eyeball it. And I like to put my cheese on top and just let it melt. And it'll be nice and yummy. And then I like to put my cilantro on top and maybe some jalapenos. I love my jalapenos. And then chips can get really difficult because I could totally eat the entire bag. And Casey, I see your question. Okay, I'll answer it in just a moment. Actually, I'll answer it now. Hold on. Casey's asking, how long does your salsa last in the fridge? My salsa lasts, I think I've kept it in there as long as 2 weeks, but usually I eat it way before then. So I hope that answers your question. Honestly, hold on. I gotta tell you about my salsa conviction here. My salsa, I love it so much. I use really if I need a crunch, I'll use chips sparingly, but I like to cut pepper wedges, green, red, orange, or yellow peppers, and I like to cut them in little wedges, and I use those as my chips. They are the vehicle for the salsa. They are called salsa shovels, and so I eat salsa all the time. I also like to put salsa on a salad in place of salad dressing. And then, of course, I like to use it for my soup as well. So hopefully that answers your question. I'm going to go back to the soup. Go back to thy soup. Come on, soup. Hold on. I don't know what. There we go. All right, so I've got jalapenos, cheese, cilantro on there. My chips, the serving size for this bag of chips, they said is 7 chips. So I took 4 chips out. I like a half a serving. And then I just like to crunch them right on top because all I need is a little crunch. And if I take 4 out of the bag and I put the rest of the bag away, then I am good for the rest of the time and I don't have to worry about overeating. And that is another trick and tip for you. And then the pièce de résistance, the non-fat plain Greek yogurt. This is the Sam's Club brand. This is a 40-ounce container that I get for $4. So if you love Greek yogurt and you have a Sam's Club membership, strongly encourage this. And I give myself a generous scoop of this. And I like to put it on top. There we go. And maybe another jalapeno for color. Some more cilantro for color. So you can see here, I just ate the spoon. There is our soup. And it is a pretty nice sized bowl of soup. I'm pretty confident that I have something on my face. I'm pretty confident that I will get full before this bowl is done, okay? But what a great, and the bowl is super hot. So another trick and tip I have for you, if you have never seen them before, you are going to be flammin' excited, are these little bowl caddies. I got the wrong one. And we use these a lot when we're sitting on the couch eating. But now I can have soup anytime I want. Who does that sound like? Liz, who does that sound like? So there you go. There's our soup. And get some of that pseudo sour cream with my Greek yogurt and the jalapeno and the cheese. You can see the meltiness. Seriously, one of the best things I've ever concocted. And let's talk about nutrition. I did this based on 15 servings. You can obviously pound it out however you want. I don't think when it comes to soup, you're going to ever get a definitive, exact nutritional content. But the main thing is to still stay accountable and still be conservative. So 15 servings. Per serving, you're looking at 223 calories, 4.3 grams of fat, 27.8 grams of carbs, and 18.5 grams of protein. That makes me happy, that makes me full, and that makes me proud because it is really a great recipe, a very filling recipe. And after I eat my soup, I usually eat it for lunch, whether I'm working from home or whether I'm working at work. Sometimes I eat it for dinner. If I eat it for dinner, I don't need a snack before I go to bed. If I eat it for lunch, I can get to 3 o'clock before I start feeling any hunger pains, and I usually eat around 11:30. So it's a really hearty, good meal. So I hope that you liked it. I have one more thing I want to review, and I have to get it on my laptop because, again, I didn't have paper to print. We got a lot of great episodes coming up for this 2022 season. Next week, we are going to do a 2-week segment on crockpot crazy. Next week's crockpot recipe is chicken, and then the following week on January 30th will be beef. So you're going to have my favorite chicken crockpot dish, and it's amazing. I can't wait. It is scheduled. It is called, I didn't publish it. Well, I'm going to wait. I'm going to do a teaser alert for you. I'm going to keep you guessing because it's really that good. Then we're going to do, I said the beef next week, the 30th. We're going to do on February 6th is the week before Super Bowl Sunday. So we are going to do a Super Bowl Sunday splurge where I'm going to show you my favorite entree and my favorite appetizer. That is going to set the precedence for your Super Bowl. You are not going to feel deprived. You are going to feel indulged, and you can stay in the game with what I'm going to show you for Super Bowl Sunday, okay? On February 13th, which is Super Bowl Sunday, we are going to do a plant-based protein meal. Just because I'm really into that right now, and they say it's really good to have 1 or 2 plant-based meals a week. It helps your body, it helps the environment, it'll even help your pocketbook. See, Veronica, I knew you would say something about that. Yay for us. Maybe you can even come and help me with it if you want. That would be a way cool gal pal date. So at any rate, February 20th, we're going to do another plant-based, a spicy vegetarian sausage and bean soup. I made it a couple weeks ago, and it was fantastic. I tried a different vegetable. I had never used Swiss chard before, and that is what's in that soup, and that's amazing. I really love soup right now. I'm going soup crazy. So then finally, February 27th, I pushed this back so much because there was so much I wanted to do. We'll do the double chocolate almond walnut protein brownies at the end of February, okay? So that's the lineup that I have for you. Please remember that Facebook, or that Bariatrics and Tips is on all social media. So we're talking Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, and YouTube, okay? So thank you so much for joining me today. Go make yourself some soup. I know you can do it. It's so good. I haven't eaten yet today, and I am going to be hogging on this in just a second. Here, I'll take one more ceremonial bite for us. Thanks, Casey. Delicious lineup indeed. I can't wait. If you have an idea for a recipe makeover, please let me know. I would be happy to consider it, and if it's chosen, you do get a Bariatrics and Tips merchandise. I haven't decided yet what it's going to be. I've got a plethora of magnets, which I love handing out. So thank you so much for watching. We've got a lot of great tips and tricks scheduled for this week. A lot of really good tips and tricks for the crock pot. A couple games about the crock pot. I know one game has to do with how many crock pots you have, because people have lots of crock pots. There are also a lot more freebie recipes that I'm going to be sharing with you. I like to share my recipes more than just on Sundays, so you'll start to see that this week too. And if you have any ideas for anything more, let us know, because this Bariatrics and Tips is your community. I am here to help support you while I am steadfast on my own journey. So thank you for watching. I so enjoyed our time. I appreciate your time. And now my dog and I are going to go eat some chicken tortilla soup, okay? You take care. See you guys later. Bye.